Hey guys, welcome to Theme of the Week with Megan.
And Crystal.
Okay, that was really lame, but basically this is our first podcast, so cut us some slack.
Yeah, podcasts are like one of those things I've never really explored. So the fact that I'm honored enough to be this person who can
She
share
explores
a podcast.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
What have you explored today, Crystal?
Well, today I decided to have a treat yourself day, which I honestly don't make enough time for. And I went and got my nails done. Like, honestly, every time I, get my nails done, it's like me saying to myself, I'm going to make an effort to, be a real person.
And this is the fun thing about a podcast is that nobody knows, how terrible your nails look. I'm just kidding. They look great. But basically, nobody has any idea if your nails look good or if they don't.
Yeah, I could tell you that they look good, and you'd have to give me the benefit of the doubt here. But unless you're Meghan, you wouldn't actually know if they're good or not.
So you're going to have to trust my judgment. And I'm telling you that her nails are red, but really, we don't know.
Yeah.
But basically, okay, this podcast idea came to us over some half-price apps at Heidelberg the other night. And basically, Crystal and I are best friends.
No one is surprised at this fact. I mean, for some best friends, their menstrual cycles sync up. Man, that was supposed to be way wittier than it actually sounded. For some best friends, their menstrual cycles sync up after they spend enough time together.
Yep.
But Megan and I have been friends since, I would say officially November 2014. Maybe she remembers a different time.
She handed me a certificate that very day.
Well, metaphorically, in my mind, I did, because I told her about this boy I liked. But basically, I have realized, and she has realized too, that our lives have started to sync up.
Yeah.
The kinds of lessons that we're learning from each other have kind of synchronically come together, and that's really, really weird.
Last semester, it was all about, introspection. Both of us, we would, find the same, lessons at certain times. And, we can already tell, this semester was just so different. But,
Yeah. The other day, I had a friend who was not Megan, a friend come to me at a party, and basically he told us that, yeah, you two are the kind of best friends who, when I see you walking down the street, I just can't help but laugh. And so I pictured in my head for a second him literally driving down, turning his head, seeing us just kind of, trudging down University Avenue and, laughing out loud for a good few minutes while
which I don't really get the joke, but I don't...
To me, I think the joke is that basically people just see us around, and by now they associate us as almost the same person. But then when I look at how our lives have kind of mirrored each other and what we're learning, I sometimes have to actually wonder to myself, are we the same person?
Except for that, I actually know that we're not the same person.
Yeah, I'm always questioning these things. But
basically, so it's one thing, okay, there's this idea of synchronicity, we can go into that later, but basically, okay, we are all humans. And so we all go through the same, seasons. We all go through the same, ebb and flow, whatever. Because we're all breathing the same air. And we're all living on the same earth. This is all, common sense, right? But, basically, the theme of this podcast is that we all experience the same sensations that come with being alive. And so sometimes those things go in themes. And,
every week there is a different theme.
There's a new lesson because, you just keep living life and then life just keeps unraveling. You, shed your skin. There's, another lesson. And, I think that the reason why we've discovered this, Crystal, I guess, is because we're always challenging each other.
Very much so,
if you are doing, I will, teach you a lesson and then I'll, find out it, comes...
Yeah, it's I'll explain, a concept that I myself deal with to Megan, and she'll be like, huh, that's weird. I haven't thought of that before. And then maybe something will arise where you actually have to, think about the concept that I've, explained to you and, apply it to your own life. And, of course, I myself have had to do this a lot, too, with, interesting things that Megan explains to me about how she lives her life. And then I'm like, interesting, but I don't know if I could do that. And then I find life sets you up with a situation where, bam, I have to be like Megan for a second.
Yeah, and I've had to act like Crystal, I guess, or use what she's taught. And if you know Crystal and I, you know that we like to psychoanalyze people.
Yes.
And so we psychoanalyze our own selves to each other when we talk. So it's I'll be no, Crystal, I'm not sad. It's the absence of sad, or like, I don't know. We get really, really detailed when we're talking about it. So,
And by now we have differentiated that we are the two representations of how different people can be, and yet our goals to be loved, please, are so similar, but we have different ways of getting there. And
yeah.
I don't know.
Because I guess I find it funny that you would say that the friend walking down the street that laughed at us would think that we're like the same person, because I think, oh my God, we're so different, like, how dare they think that I'm like you or something, even though I love you. You're great. But I'm just like, no.
I don't think we're ready to be the same person.
We think so differently, that's just not true.
No.
But at the same time, it's like really interesting to see how sometimes people have the same goals, and so at a surface value, you might think that they are similar, but then they have completely different routes to get there. Like,
Yeah.
Crystal and I, pretty social people, pretty, like,
We
loving,
like
whatever.
making new friends. And
Yeah,
like,
but, like, the way that she does it is so different than me.
yeah, definitely. I'm the kind of person who will go up to a stranger on the street, say a really weird observation that will throw them off, and then basically in my mind try to manipulate them into feeling obligated to be my friend. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
a rough way of
And
saying
I
it.
don't really talk to strangers. I just talk to people that I know, but then I try and talk to them, I think, more than you talk to the people that you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's very true. I've noticed that I'm good at like hooking people into being my friend, but I'm really, really bad at maintaining that friendship. Well, I think that there's an entry fee to being Megan's friend, but once you're there, she is like the most loyal, like welcoming, there for you person. But man, like it's like initially she's not gonna probably be like, oh hey, what's up? Like, you know.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's like also like Crystal and I both really, really like want to be loved. But then,
Yes,
like, I mean,
we do.
everyone wants to be loved. That's like goes without saying. But the ways that you want to be loved, I normally find super selfish. But I think maybe vice versa. And sometimes I don't know.
Oh yeah, very much so. Like I wouldn't describe like my judgments of like how Megan lives her life as like selfish, but I do think that sometimes like the ways that I may be considerate of things she isn't, and the ways that she is very considerate of things I'm not. And there came a certain time, actually, like when I took Megan back with me to Portland over Thanksgiving break, and we were on the plane, and we were both like kind of like listening to music and like journaling. And then there's a moment where she like looked over at me and was like, "Man, do you see how similar we are right now?" And like for how different, like we always talk about how we are. I saw in that moment that wow, like we really are like at our core, just trying to get like what we want, which is the end result, love.
Which we want to know everything. We want to know what people are thinking, blah, blah, blah. Like, we are very analytical, I guess, people. But I always am like, oh, my God, Crystal, you're overanalyzing. But then she'll tell me that I'm overanalyzing. But
It's like
I guess I really wanted to make a podcast with Crystal because sometimes I think people overhear our conversations and they're like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
yeah.
So if
definitely.
anyone was ever curious,
This is how we talk. It's like
that same trip to Portland, we were talking about, I don't know, we were driving to Seattle, and I was like, it's so interesting. What does it mean that the trees are different here than in Missouri or something? And then her little sister goes, you guys are friendship goals. And I was like, oh my God, nobody's ever said that I was.
yeah. And to
Hashtag
me,
goals.
if my 16-year-old sister at least wants us as friendship goals, then you know maybe we could be in some reality friendship
Maybe
goals.
there are other people out there that actually wonder about the different trees in the Pacific Northeast versus the Midwest and wonder how that brings us up as people. Whatever.
Definitely.
I don't know.
I mean, I just think that like we have decided that love is the answer, and sometimes we get a little too
Yeah.
caught up in like analyzing people is the way to find love. Is what I think. We're like both these like very like people. We're these
I've never
people-
thought of that before
Oh, haha! Look, I told you something new.
on a podcast,
Yeah.
so everyone knows.
Whoa, it's like, yeah, it's your turn to tell me something new. So I expect that in the next, how many, 15, no, maybe that's 16, yeah, 16 minutes. Megan will
don't know.
tell me not one, but 2 new things. But I'll probably give no cue that I thought they were new because I'm not very reactive at times.
She doesn't really explain
No,
what's
I
going on in her
don't.
brain, but this is the point of the podcast, is that you have to pretend that these people, this is a microphone, but there's listeners, right, listeners? You guys are listening.
Yeah, people are listening. It's kind of intimidating.
My dad's gonna listen. Hey, Dad.
Hey, Mr. LeVota. Yeah, I promise I do not sleep with boots on.
Wait, what? See, there you go with the inside jokes on the podcast. It's not how it works.
Yeah. See, what I make inside jokes a lot to people and exclude people to feel more special, but Megan's actually taught me that this is actually not good. So
It doesn't actually make you look more special. It just makes the group confused.
yeah, no one
Because the
actually-
group is just like, oh, she's talking about something that we don't know. Why is she bringing that up? I don't know.
Yeah, they're not like, she's so cool.
But
She brought us
basically,
something I don't know.
Crystal spent the night at my house once in Independence and slept in a coat and boots.
Yeah, I actually don't quite remember either way.
But anyways, we just thought we'd introduce ourselves, but basically the theme of this week that we have realized is your vibe attracts your tribe, which I'm telling you, this is not just something that you see on like quotable things.
Or Collective Evolution or Berlin Art Parasites, all those like woo sites. Woo means like spiritual and like mystic. is
Wow, that
what
sounded
means.
scary the way you said that.
You know, your vibe attracts your tribe is so true that technically it is scary to me. So there you go.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back to talk about this wonderful theme. Okay, so we're back to talk about your vibe attracts your tribe, which is something that I've been thinking about a lot the past week, and I think Crystal has been.
Yeah,
Have you?
I thought of, well, the alternate phrasing, in my opinion, which is birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like birds more than I used
But
to.
also opposites attract, because if your vibe is opposite of who you actually are,
Oh.
or if you want someone else to compensate a part of you. So it's like, okay, I think opposites attract if you are like, if you hate yourself and you wish that you're the complete opposite, you're going to be around those sort of people. Or you could love yourself and you could just wish that you had a different aspect, and that can become like part of your vibe. Like,
Interesting.
I know I really like to be around like people that are more introverted and more thoughtful.
Yeah, that's very true.
And
I'm like
so
that
I
too.
attract people like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, I think of it like you're putting out the desire to like learn about that side of you that can be introverted and can be thinking. And so when you find these like introverted people who also think, then like you have like attracted them to like be a part of your, I guess, circle.
Yeah, it's
In a
like
way.
I want to bring out that part of myself that I wish was stronger. But
I also think that it doesn't even extend to like if you're extroverted versus if you're introverted, which by the way, I don't agree with those terms, but more on that later. Basically, I also think of the fact that Megan and I are both super outgoing people, or we're super outgoing people, but Megan is outgoing in a different way where she's very motherly and very warm and like knows how to bring people together and kind of has a relatively structured life, even if your room is messy. I don't think that's the only indication of if you have a structured life or not. I just think that I've like learned so much because I was attracting like parts of me that wanted to improve as opposed to like
Yeah.
parts that I wanted to like
exactly,
just
because
have.
it's no fun if you're just like around like basically a mirror of a person.
Yeah.
It's no fun if like everything you say, they're just like,
Yeah, people
yeah,
just agree
sure.
with. Yeah, because if I had conversations where people were like, oh, I already thought that, oh, I already thought that, oh, I already thought that, then, you know.
You don't realize how much you know until you're around someone that doesn't know what you know.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to explain that, but
Basically,
the
like,
things that I find to be given, Crystal does not think is
yeah, I
given.
think they're so novel. And, like, one way, like, I've been, like, trying to, I guess, improve is, like, explaining what I know and, like, not assuming that it's obvious to everyone. Because I used to have this thing where I thought that I was just behind everyone and everyone else had, like, different things than me, but on top of that, the same things as me. So I like literally thought that like I was just inferior. But then I worked on a group project with, I guess, a friend who I realized has a different kind of personality than me. And I like realized
What
that
project?
it was actually for computer assisted reporting.
Oh.
Yes. I realized that, oh, like she is really good at like analyzing like the logic behind these things, but she doesn't know how to use details to like back it up. And I'm good at using details, but I can't do what she does. So I realized that, oh wow, she's actually unable to maybe like memorize all these micro details, and she actually needs me to do that. And I guess like for me, I've never interacted enough with people in the past to get to the point where I would realize that, oh, there's actually a lot about me that I can contribute. And so Megan has actually taught me to be more vulnerable with people about what I know or don't know, and then they will in turn tell me what they know, what they don't
'Cause
know.
I don't view it as being vulnerable. I just view it as if you want anyone to be able to interpret your actions, you have to be honest and upfront. You have to show them it. If you're
Yeah.
trying to play a game and hide, then nobody's gonna know what to
It's
make
like you
of
have to give them the information. What I assume is people already have that information, but they're just hiding it from me. As opposed to if I hide something that I think is obvious, maybe people didn't even know it existed. So then from there, they
True.
just don't, they still don't know it exists because I've hidden it because I was paranoid that they already knew.
Yeah. So, your vibe attracts your tribe. I have a question for you, Crystal. Do you think that just by being yourself, that is enough to attract like-minded people or friends, or like if you want to think of it not just tribe but like opportunities, like do you feel like that is true?
I do think that's true, actually. I think that your mindset a lot of the time does attract like the kind of people that you're going to associate with. So if you have a mindset of like maybe being like of a victim in a way where like you feel like like I am not going to have any friends like blah,
Like
blah,
let
blah.
me just pause you for a second and say something I was thinking about is, so like I'm interested in astrology, and 2 years ago I didn't know anyone else that was, and now I feel like every day I meet someone else that is. Like that's like I guess like an example.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like specifically my theory with that would be like as you learn more about astrology and you like believe in it more, your vibe has shifted to the fact that now you're like actively attracting people who also believe in it on the same level. Because maybe before you didn't believe in it enough to attract like the people who'd be able to like help you like or like talk to you about it. And so it's almost like as time has gone on, like it's like you're like ready to like.
There's also this sort of thing where it's like you have to shine your light. You have to like shine your light, or else no one's going to like see it. So it's like maybe I used to like hide aspects of myself. Like
Yeah, I would say.
I didn't mean to. I guess I just thought, oh well, they could just ask if they really want to know. And I had a friend tell me about a year ago today that, or a year ago around this time, that if someone is your friend, then you should assume that they want to know about you and that you could just go ahead and tell them. But for that, like, changed my life, because for the longest time, I would just kind of, like, react to what people were saying, and, like, I wouldn't really offer up anything interesting about myself because I always asked other people what was interesting about them, so I assumed that if anyone else wanted to know anything about me, that they would just ask. But that's not really how it works.
I guess for me, I've always been the kind of person who like voluntarily like shares like facts about myself, and then in turn, I'll also like ask other people about facts about themselves, and they'll be kind of thrown off. But I feel like it's like almost like as you get more confident and as you like kind of refine like a positive kind of vibe, then like the people like who are kind of worthy in a way of like being in the same tribe come to you. I feel like a theme that I was thinking, or this theme that I was thinking about this week was, man, I have more authentic like friendships now than I did before.
Yeah,
like
I've always been the worst at fun facts. I don't know.
you have a lot of fun facts.
I know, but I don't know how to say it as a fact. You know?
I just like the stories you tell, and they're full of facts, like about your childhood and stuff. You'll always be like, oh, like I'm kind of babbling. I'll be like, no, I've been paying attention this whole time, and you'll be like, oh, and
But
like
something has to remind me of that. It's not like I could just be like, all right, tell me fun facts. Like if you were to tell me right now, fun fact about your childhood, like I would not even know. I'd be like, I liked pasta. I had a sister.
gotcha. Well, I would say like, tell me more about like the kind of pasta your mom cooked, and you'd be
But
like,
see, that's not really a fun fact. I mean, Mom, your pasta's great, but like, what? Oh, it had noodle. Oh, well, Crystal thinks it's weird that she didn't realize that noodles and pasta, like she didn't realize that there were all these different types of noodles. What were you saying that time?
I thought you were gonna say something about like how I thought with chili.
I like blew your mind. No, I blew your mind that your Japanese noodles
Are not pasta.
are the same, like are basically the same as like pasta.
I like had to think Japanese pasta and like have that ruminate in my mind for a few minutes because I was like, that doesn't sound right, but at the same time, it is kind of true.
Like the like rice noodles, or it's like they're just all a brand of noodles.
Yeah.
So many noodles in this world. So little time, you know.
This is an example of how something that's kind of a given to people like Meghan is not a given to people like me. Wow. But
Wow.
Yes, it's the simple things.
Wow, Megan
Well-
knows so much about noodles. Listen to her podcast
No,
and listen to
and
her
then
talk
I
about her favorite
extrapolate.
noodles.
Megan knows so much about everything, and noodles is only but one of those things. There could be so many other things, and this like
Penne, linguine,
Jeez.
angel
Yeah,
hair,
no, those are all
spaghetti.
metaphorical
Wait, no, that
stand-ins.
time that I told you that I wanted you to just pick up some pasta so I can make buttered noodles, and you like took pictures of like 5 different things.
Yeah,
in the
and I
noodle
was
aisle
on the
and didn't know-
phone and at Hy-Vee for a long time because I was like, man, like,
And I said,
I
and she
never
took a
knew.
picture. I'm like, that's whole grain. I don't want the whole grain. Just give me normal pasta. And then she's like, what kind? Spaghetti. Just spaghetti. I don't care what brand it is. Just give me spaghetti.
yeah.
And that was the hardest thing.
It was actually objectively so hard. In fact, even now, I just feel kind of like chills.
Well, this is kind of rude because it's like if you asked me like, what's the sort of like stuff that pot stickers have?
skin.
No, it's not just skin. It's not skin.
The meat inside.
No. Like the doughy thing. What are those things called? The bread.
Oh shoot, I don't know.
You don't even know what it's called.
the
but
Chinese name.
Okay, because I was gonna say like if you asked me something about that,
You
I'm
would-
not even gonna even make a joke about crab rangoon because you're gonna get pissed off.
Yeah, you see,
But-
I once made an infamous. No, not infamous. No, it's not iconic either. Okay, I once
Yeah,
made.
let's try
I
and
once-
not make yourself seem cooler than you are. It was just one.
Okay, when I
comment.
say it's iconic, it's like in my mind it is, but I bet the majority does not see it that way. I once made a Facebook status publicly declaring my disdain for crab rangoons, which are not, by the way, a real Chinese food. And
I'm sure that all of our listeners remember that day where they
yeah,
went on
they
Facebook
definitely
and they knew.
went on like, yeah, they were like, oh, what? They're not real, or oh no, they're so good, and blah blah blah. I don't know. Chinese crab. Okay, you know what? We should go back to the topic because crab rangoons are something that I could talk about for
Yeah, that'll be another podcast.
inordinate amount of time.
Okay. I mean, okay. How has this shown up in your life this week?
That my vibe attracts my tribe.
Yeah, I mean,
This is actually a good question.
yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe this is a little nerdy, but like, basically, I feel like this week I put out the vibe that I actually want to like accumulate knowledge and grow because one of my resolutions, not for the new year necessarily, but just for this semester, we'll see what happens come May if I continue, was to be more scholarly and like reach out to the world of knowledge and stuff because I'm one of those people that doesn't really go on BuzzFeed or watch YouTube videos or even watch Netflix. Like I'm always going. And this semester I was like, I'm gonna like try to actively like study more and blah blah blah. And I just feel like I just like attracted, I guess, the motivation to do that through, I guess, friends who are kind of like-minded. And like, I don't know, maybe it's a little like not such a good representation of like the big like intuitive possibilities with your vibe attracts your tribe. But I just think that
What do you
when
mean by
have-
the big intuitive possibilities?
I think of your vibe attracting your tribe as like literally like attracting in all aspects of your life. Like, I don't know exactly, but basically, I just think like for micro-representation, the fact that I had the intent of being like more scholarly or something, like I attracted like the means and the people to like help me like study more, like be more on task and such. So yeah.
You would somehow made it so that I'm in 2 of your classes, and so you know
Yeah.
that I'm gonna, I don't know,
help me.
help you.
Yes.
I just find it strange that a year ago, if I would have wanted to go to a psychic fair, I would have gone by myself and just explored. But now I had 1, 2, 3, 5.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Wait,
five.
no, I needed to pause to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
6.
Okay, counting is really hard. So
Especially on a
okay,
podcast.
now I had 6 people want to go to the psychic fair with me.
And not only that, but while we were at the psychic
met 2
fair,
friends.
We met 2 friends. And they weren't just like, oh, you like this stuff too? They were like, oh, wow, we need to talk about this. We need to hang out. It was like people, like, I guess, like, I just felt like we were actively, like, making, like, actual friends as opposed to seeing people who also happen to be into psychic stuff.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, I guess I just, as I've been really putting my mind towards like all the different journalism projects I'm going to be doing this semester, I feel like I've been attracting that too, like people to interview and I don't know.
Just like the kinds of conversations I even had this week where, okay, like for example, like I was like talking with my roommates, hey, what's up guys, about like why I say do tarot cards, and like explaining actually to not just them, but another friend of mine that I was walking to the student store with, that like I was explaining how I think that when tarot card readers do readings for people, the people are kind of controlling the readings because they're looking, and the first thing that comes to their mind or comes to their gut is already there. It was already there to begin with. You're just digging it out. And then they were like, whoa, that's so cool. And like then they were like giving examples of like, you know, coincidences they've noticed before, and like just like seemed to be more like almost like open to the idea. And like I'm not trying to like convert anyone here, but I was just like,
No, we're not evangelicals.
yeah, we're not.
We don't know what the hell we believe.
Yeah,
so
no, we don't. We're just open to anything. We're learning. But essentially, I just think, man, like even
aren't we all?
that was something I would have said.
No,
and
it
then
wasn't.
I thought, okay.
Okay.
I mean, just even like sitting down at like the restaurant I work at, and like having the person next to me randomly ask me if I'm into chakras because I was complaining about my appetite. By the way, I'm into chakras, so that's the context. Yeah, like
wait, chalk? You draw chalk pictures?
Rahs.
Were you the one that wrote the check your liberal privilege in chalk a couple months ago?
No, that was my friend. I just happened to be there. That was a joke, guys. I wasn't actually
Yeah,
there.
because her vibe attracted the tribe of that one friend that also did chalk. No.
Yes, chalk. Well, man, there's so many jokes that could have been made off that, but we should actively
None of them would have been funny.
Well, Megan has started to say jokes that I find funny, but like she herself doesn't naturally find funny, and I think that's pretty funny too. It's like I attracted you to start saying that kind of humor, or maybe not.
Yeah, I think that I have started to tell bad jokes ever since we've been friends.
I mean, some of them are just really like funny puns or haha, what ifs. And
Sometimes
stuff.
I say things that are really stupid just because I think that Crystal might think it's funny.
And usually she's right. I mean, this is all also like a big conspiracy to try to make me laugh more, because I realized the other day that I'm actually not a person who
No,
laughs.
Crystal always goes like, okay, say something to me.
Like I'll say, like, look, I just tripped.
And then Crystal will go, ha ha, and then her face will drop and she'll stare at you with like just intense eyes.
Yes.
Like, nothing has changed.
Yes, when I say the words haha, my face will temporarily like lift into a happy.
No. Her
or
eyes,
more-
she's not smizing at all. If this were a video, we would include a demonstration.
Yeah, we'd be able to demonstrate. There'd be like maybe a silent sound. I was about to say silent sound bite, but maybe that doesn't make any sense. There'd be like silence and me like demonstrating the expression. But yeah, essentially I realized that I don't sincerely laugh. I just say haha to acknowledge that something should be funny or something might be funny, but it's like noted. It goes through my mind like a thought, a shot in the dark, a shooting star that doesn't actually stay to let its light shine.
Yeah. So basically, you need to let your light shine, kids. At
Yes.
home.
This is
Kids
what-
at home that are listening.
That's what Megan does. She just brings things around thematically into a perfect circle. And that, you guys, is why, ... is what I think in my mind when Megan does this. She doesn't actually say that.
Okay, because there's this poem. What is the one about the blue masks?
Oh, the Shel Silverstein one.
Would you like to recite it, Crystal?
Okay, well, we're Googling it right now, guys.
Will you recite this
Okay.
lovely poem?
Yes,
You have a
I
lovely-
will.
You just have a lovely
Okay.
voice for radio.
Am I ready?
Yeah.
The joke is that Megan's voice is better suited for this thing. She had blue skin,
Wait,
and
no.
so did he. He kept it hid, and so did she. They searched for blue their whole life through, then passed right by, and never knew.
So yeah, she said it really terribly, but the point is that your vibe would not attract your tribe unless you let yourself be known.
Yeah.
People that don't let themselves be known, if you don't know yourself, if you're just trying to go like through life like, whatever, just gonna bump into
Yeah.
whoever.
Like,
you're not going to meet people that are good friends. Like,
Yeah,
you aren't gonna find the opportunities that are right for you.
Mhm, yeah.
Like, when you know yourself, and it's one thing to know, like, a couple of years ago or so, like, I still, like, knew myself, whatever. Like, I mean, I've learned, we all do, we're growing, but I feel like if you are blue and you're wanting to meet another blue person, you have to, like, fucking paint your face blue. Like, you have to shine your light. You have to say what color you are, even if it, like, annoys people. Oh, I was talking to So me and my sister were talking about how we
Hey,
wished that we
Maddie.
had, we wished like what we would look like if we had like an alternative alter ego, and she was like saying she would want like a nose ring and like blue hair, and then I was saying that I could never be completely out there because I wouldn't want to alienate certain people that might judge me, like people who are like in the could give me a job. But then someone said, I can't remember what, but basically that's the point. That's why people, I don't know, but that's the point. If you alienate people, then that could be the point.
Yeah, like,
Am I making sense?
It's like essentially the people that would judge you for having, say, like blue hair, probably aren't the people that you want to be working for anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're going to apply that closed-mindedness perhaps to other areas.
And that's just a sensory example of hair, which is not even really true, but like, if you are funny, tell jokes to whoever will listen, and you're going to attract funny people.
Yeah.
And if you...
You're going to weed out the non-funny people that will judge you for being funny. You're going to weed them out.
Yeah,
in
and
a
if
way.
people think my beliefs are bullshit, I'm sorry, then don't listen. Don't look at my Facebook statuses, whatever. I don't care, because you just have to shine that light, because everyone's got one. And,
Yeah, you have to
yeah.
literally, like, you know, put your vibe out there so your tribe even knows that the vibe exists.
I think
half the
people
time.
like us, like we've been called annoying for just being ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. We are
I've
considered
always
very
been.
intense.
I've been that way. Like when I was a kid. It's like, it's like if you put yourself a little bit out there, and then the wrong person sees and says that you're annoying, it makes people want to like hide their lights.
I agree.
But what you have to do is just be like, I don't care if you think I'm annoying. You keep going, and you're gonna find that there's so many people that don't think you're annoying and that think that what you have to say is interesting.
Or like maybe those people are like hiding their annoying quote unquote tendencies because
Yeah.
they're afraid of being judged. And when they see someone else like doing that, they're like, yay. Like for example, why is Jennifer Lawrence so like popular?
And those people are shells of humans if they are just going around saying you're annoying, like your belief sucks. Like why don't you like have your own beliefs? Why don't you have your own shit to deal with? Because like
I think it's like okay, it's trendy in a way, I think, to like be like, oh, I'm a pretty girl, but I'm like so quirky. Like people are like trying to make it like cool now to like be like, I'm actually such a dork. I eat pizza at like 3 a.m. blah blah blah. But I think that what is kind of like contradictory to that is that people are still making judgments on each other for being annoying or blah blah blah. It's almost like you have to have the right kind of quirks or something.
you have to be like chill and quirky. It's like not cool to be like really quirky and
Yeah,
loud,
it's
even though
not, you have to be like discoverable, but still it's like when they discover you, you're like quirky. But I feel like the people that are actually legitimately authentically quirky aren't afraid to be that way, and they're very authentic. And so I just feel like a lot of the friends that I've been actively interacting with and who like hang out with me all the time, I feel like are now the kind of people that I'm not afraid to be vulnerable with and not afraid to like actually like tell them that I care or show them that I care, which I'm still actually objectively pretty bad at. But I realized that I used to have this thing like sophomore and freshman year where I would just go to parties and try to talk to as many people as possible, to the point where I wasn't even considering like what kind of vibe I wanted to put out. I was putting out a vibe in general, but it was like a mixed bag of a vibe, which is why I got a mixed bag of friends back.
Yeah, that's true. And I realized too that what I used to do is every time I'd meet someone, I would try and wonder how much they liked me, as opposed to making my own judgment.
Like you?
Do I like you?
Yeah.
And whenever you have more of a say in like who you want to spend time with, etc.,
And also,
then I feel like you can give more like genuine compliments.
yes, very
too.
true. Also, something that Meghan has taught me about is chemistry is a two-way street. Well, she
Yes,
actually
yes,
gave me
yes,
she gave me
yes.
this idea when I was like wondering if a boy liked me or something, if I was imagining everything. You probably aren't, by the way, if you ever wonder that. But I think that for chemistry being a two-way street, it's kind of like if you really, really want to be friends with someone and you're authentically being yourself, it'll be because you're picking up that they really authentically want to be your friend too. Like the people you try with, but it just kind of fails. Like if you really dig into your feelings, maybe you don't actually care that much in a way.
Maybe you just want validation.
Yeah.
And I think that goes exactly in hand with your vibe attracts your tribe. And so what I've always told my friends, it's like if you are like super, super heartbroken, like I think that the most heartbreaking thing is whenever two people have a lot of chemistry, but one person's just denying it.
Yeah, also.
One person's just pretending it doesn't exist. That's the saddest thing. The saddest thing is not unrequited love. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, unrequited love really doesn't. And the people are like, but I used
If you
to like
are
this
still
person.
requiting, is that a word?
Yes.
If you are still whatever thinking about someone, then they're still thinking about you because
And I think that if you're like, but I'm pining after someone, but I don't think they're pining after me, you can also maybe assess the authenticity of your pining. Maybe they're actually a stand-in for like another kind of thing that you're seeking validation for, but you just happen to be projecting it onto them. What I think is interesting about the concept of your vibe attracts your tribe is the idea that sometimes you think that you're attracting, but it's not happening, like it's not manifesting.
because if you doubt yourself.
Yeah, and I think that in a way, if you're like, oh, I'm being so genuine, I'm being quirky, but man, like I don't feel like anyone else genuine or quirky is coming out. I almost feel like it's like a test to see the tenacity of your vibe. It's not necessarily anything wrong with you and your vibe. It's more like, okay, like your vibe is coming out, and we're gonna make it come out even more, put yourself out there even more, and you'll like get more tribe eventually. But it's kind of like this is only the pre-attracting like period.
And I think that whenever, Crystal, you're saying you need to see the authenticity of why you're pining or why you want to be someone's friend or whatever, it's like,
Do a lot of
what
introspection.
I used to do is be like, oh my god, they like good music, or oh my god, they're a journalism major, or they were in theater in high school. That's not like really a
Like
reason.
it's like, oh, like these are shortcuts to like the kind of people that I
yeah,
want to attract.
and I think that shortcuts could be legit, but
I mean, it's kinda,
sometimes they fail
yeah,
you.
you have to really assess like the legitimacy of the shortcuts. Like for example, I'm assuming that if you're really into spirituality, and the more we talk, the more it's very clear that you have a lot of knowledge about it. Then I'll assume, well, like the kind of person that would like spirituality has to be blah 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 blah, and I am blah 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 blah. But like it's kind of like with good music, it's like less of an entry fee to have the same maybe taste in music. I don't know. That's like also something I think
I've never
about.
thought of it like that. Because I just viewed it all as different, like, sensory things.
Ooh.
But hey, we are going to take a quick break, and when we get back, Crystal is going to tell us about what was going on in the news this week.
And I'll make weird comments about it, and you all can judge me, including Meghan.
Yeah. All right. Okay, and we're back. And so part of the whole thing we're doing with Theme of the Week is that it's not just us that is experiencing these themes. Like, the entire world is, like, I mean, we saw it at Mizzou. Okay, honestly, yesterday, like, everything going on with, like, MSA and, like, Tim Wolf, like, what are the odds that those events would both happen at the same time? And, like, when you think about what happened with Jonathan Butler, it seemed like everything was kind of going down at once. Like, there are societal, like, energies, too. And so Crystal is going to talk about the news, and we're going to talk about how this ties in on the theme. So what's the first one you got?
Well, the first thing I got is about like Tim Wolf and like the fact that he wrote this like very like tumultuous like kind of
Hey,
conflict.
what's the headline?
Okay. The Missourian said Wolf criticizes UM system curators, comma, Lofton in confidential email to the university supporters. For those of you who maybe haven't like read this letter, basically Wolf emailed it out 2 months after he resigned, so just last week. And he basically like calls out that like he felt like he's been like basically kind of mistreated by the UM system, and he says that he resigned out of love for MU and the rest of the system, but he wanted to share with the public the series of events and circumstances that were previously unknown that led to his resignation. And from there, he talks about how like Lofton was apparently like pressuring like Vice Chancellor Hal Williamson to retire, and like he points out like that he took away the grad students' health insurance. It was basically pissing everyone off, and his job was actually in jeopardy in late September. And then he talks about Senator Kurt Schaefer, who was apparently pressuring him to take away Professor Josh Hawley's right to run for Attorney General, and also apparently shaping Bowen Lofton's testimony. And then he also calls out like Mike Middleton for like not actively like stepping in to prevent
Didn't
concerns
he
in
like
1950.
name the email confidential?
Yeah, he did. But
You can tie it into the theme with like, no, but you could tie it into the theme because it's like he was putting so much energy on like, please don't look at it, it's confidential, and then everyone found out about it.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens.
From a journalistic perspective, if it's been emailed out to more than one person, like he basically
You
said,
saw what happened with Hillary Clinton and her
yeah,
emails.
like it's kind of like, man, this is up for public grabs now. And also, he's been president for quite some time. He knows that like anything he puts out in the
Didn't
public
you report
sphere.
on this?
Yes, I actually did. I was at the Capitol yesterday trying with my good friend Ellen to chase down Senator Schaefer and ask him to respond
Did you catch him?
to these allegations.
Were you running around?
Yeah, we were running around. We actually were sitting on the steps right by his office for like a good 2 or 3 hours. Ellen eventually caught him, and we, turned out some great additions to the original story. But essentially, what I think is really interesting is, like, basically, it's a call to action in this email. Tim Wolf is, like, basically telling people to, like, help him out because apparently the curators just haven't given him enough compensation. They've given him the compensation equivalent to if he, like, had just been, like, terminated without cause and if his performance had been really bad. And it's kind of, like, interesting to me because, like, why would you send out a confidential email that, like, it implies that you don't want it out, but you want a result that would only be achieved if, like, people knew about the, like,
yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
So do you think that it was, like, do you think Tim Wolf, like, had it coming for him?
Oh, man, like, I think it's interesting because he basically is kind of trying to shift the blame onto these other people who he thinks basically weren't, like, their consequences were lesser than his. Like, he was basically, okay, at the very end of the email, he said, to put the board of curators, his offer into perspective, Bowen Lofton receives 75% of his former salary after he was forced to resign as chancellor. They also approved an amendment to Coach Pinkel, who also resigned, his contract, where he'll be paid an additional $350K per year for 3 years after he resigns. And they basically goes, and I got, like, nothing compared to them. And it's like, man, like, he's salty. Okay, like, literally, I was looking on Facebook, and everyone who shared this article was like, oh, look, Wolf is still salty. In case you were wondering, everyone's like, man, this guy's salty, this guy's salty, this guy's salty. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'm not going to say he's not salty because anyone would be if they're getting that compensation, if what he's saying is true. But at the same time,
if he would have resigned sooner, that, do you think that if he would have resigned sooner that he would have gotten more compensation?
I'm actually not too sure because all the circumstances, like, he, like, alleges, like, happened or whatever, make it seem like he was kind of screwed no matter what he did, and that the only reason he stayed as long as he did was because he cared so much about the university. I mean, like, the main thing is, like, everyone who is, like, talking about this letter, and, like, I talked to Representative Caleb Jones about this, like, I just think that most people, like, just don't really, or, okay, wait, what Caleb Jones said was, like, he doesn't believe that Wolf should have pointed the finger and, like, shifted the blame if he, like, just wanted a better compensation outcome. I think, though, that people should, like, think that there was, like, a specific motivation that Wolf had for calling people out, and yeah, he's salty, but at the same time, I think he has enough foresight to see that there'd be, like, consequences to this. So I don't think that it's just like, this is out of spite to make myself feel better, ha ha ha. Which is, I think,
everyone always has a reason for doing things. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have kind of, like, simplified it. Like some people that were just gossiping about it seem to just say that he was just being spiteful. But I'm like, that's, like, simplifying it, though. Like, I mean, I don't really know what is going to happen because, this just came out yesterday. So I think the consequences will be far-reaching. But to me, I thought, looks like the Concerned Student 1950 saga isn't over. And Wolf just kind of honestly doused, like, gasoline on the fire that was kind of, like, going out. Because he was basically, like, he in the email ironically said, like, the football team, like, their actions were the equivalent of throwing gasoline on a small fire. I'm like, man, you can use your own metaphor for what you just did here because you just unearthed a lot of stuff. If you care so much about the university, I'm not going to say you should have, like, not said something, but at the same time, this email is so long and so kind of just throwing all dignity to the wind, and if it's only because you want more compensation, I feel like leaking this letter to major newspapers or allowing it to be leaked, like, is a very dramatic step in a way. And, like, I just think that this is going to have, like, far-reaching consequences. Basically, I think
what do you think the consequences could be? Because I'm not going to lie, I haven't read the whole thing because I didn't report on it.
It's okay. I think essentially, like, in terms of, like, the funding for, like, Mizzou's future, I think that...
I just think it's going to create a bunch of more, like, tension on campus.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because I think, like, a lot of people will now be, like, questioning the leadership of interim system president Mike Middleton, because Wolf here insinuates that Middleton was hired because of his relationship with Jonathan Butler, who was the leader of the Concerned Student 1950. And it's, like, kind of like he's throwing kind of shade on the new president. And even if people can be like, he's just salty, it's still kind of like there will be some people who will read that and be like, how qualified is Middleton? So it's like creating strife in a way, just like from that aspect. And at the same time, he's also kind of tainting Lofton's legacy, even if Lofton, say, was like not doing his job and being incompetent. It's still kind of like putting a bad taste in the mouth of the people that hired him in the first place and making them maybe look incompetent. So there's just like a lot of kind of, he's kind of almost seems like he's like poisoning like the whole entire way the system is set up, and whether or not he should be is a different story. But I just think that objectively there's already so much questioning about the leadership that was kind of quieting down as the semester started, but I just think it's gonna like start back up, and people will be having more debates and discussions, not just about racism but also
We
like
have not heard the end of
Nope.
Timothy Wolf.
Nope.
So what's your next one?
Well, okay, like going hand in hand to like going back in time to November, we also recently had Melissa Click, if you remember her. Like she has been charged actually with assault, and here, essentially, like people. Okay, back when like she was, I guess, like acute, like back when the incident where
So,
she
this is
basically
on the
strong-armed-
Atlantic. A suspension for Melissa Click.
But basically, like she kind of like strong-armed a journalism student, and now apparently the photo of her pointing is the most famous photo in Missouri at the moment.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like someone like literally like called that, and like she's been charged with third-degree assault and pleaded not guilty, but been suspended in the meantime. And basically, like she angered back in the day like a lot of like free speech proponents, like. Because they're like, oh my God, like, she shouldn't have done that. She's a communications professor. She should know better, blah, blah, blah. And then some people are like, but at the same time, like, she's this, like, person who, like, really just was being mama bear and, like, protecting, like, the protesters and maybe their right to privacy and such. And now she's being charged, which is kind of unearthed.
This is just, like, I think, such a multifaceted thing. And it really bums me out when I see people pointing the finger on both sides, like especially in the journalism school.
Yeah.
Like people are like, no, what she did was wrong, and then people that are really closely linked with concerned students, it's like, no, she was helping it. It's like there is a moral and there's not a legal gray area, but there is a moral. There is a moral gray area.
Yeah, I think that, for example, like some people literally calling her a C word and like sending her angry emails saying you're a disgrace to like free speech and blah blah blah.
It's just taking the conversation not where it should be, and it's just pointing the finger, and it's like, shine your own lights. Haven't we learned this?
Yeah. Like she was just honestly one woman who was kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time and like made like a objectively bad decision. But I mean, you and I and everyone makes bad decisions all the time.
What people don't realize is that Melissa Click did something wrong, but how many other people would have not known the law?
Exactly.
I mean, I understand that ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking it. Yeah, you see that in like TV shows. Right?
Yes.
But like so many people, it's like let's not point a moral finger. Let's not try and burn the witch. Let's just move. Let's just try and see what can we actually do to help students, to help racial tension, to help the problem.
And move forward, because I feel like this personally has like put the conversation behind a few steps by
and I feel
so
bad
much
for all
attention.
my wonderful journalism professors that keep getting accidentally linked, like thinking that they work with her. She's communications.
And I will say that I actually had a class with Click my freshman year, and I
give us the inside scoop.
Yeah, the inside
scoop.
scoop.
Did she ever point? And did she ever?
She pointed at the screen when we were watching an episode of a fall 2013 TV show that I did not like at the time. But either way, she was teaching a class on, I guess, the impact of the fall TV schedule and how, like all these like big insiders like put it together. And I just thought, man, like she's like a really nice lady who like seems to know her stuff and just really wants to promote learning. And I feel like, I actually kind of admire her for like getting behind Concerned Student 1950 as a white woman who could remove herself from that conversation. But I just feel like a lot of people, like, kind of like, maybe who feel like pent up tension about like all the stuff that's happening on campus and feel conflicted. We're like, hey, like we can all bond together and villainize one woman and such like that. But I just think that that's not the answer.
Because that's not what people were mad at. People, like, I understand the specific journalists that were there being upset with Melissa Click.
And they don't
but,
even seem that upset, to be honest. Like,
but
they
like
are,
the people that are upset have nothing to do with it. And
yeah,
honestly, we're just
they
mad at black
literally
people.
weren't-
And
They literally weren't there. Like, I mean, I just feel like every journalist that was, like, you know, like, getting kind of strong-armed, like, they aren't the ones, like, actively posting Facebook statuses and victimizing themselves. Yeah, I don't think so. Like,
but this is an example of ignorance isn't bliss, because you have to know what you're doing.
yeah.
You just have to, because or else you could get stuck in this conversation.
Yeah, ignorance itself is not the problem, but it's, like, allowing ignorance to continue is, like, the wrong inaction.
So many people just try and hide behind ignorance because they think it's easier. They think it's an easier way to live life than to be like authentic, which kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier. But I'm really excited for your third one.
Yeah,
it's one
well-
of my personal favorites.
Yeah, well, okay, to give you guys some context before I reveal it, I like, I guess, shitty bands like Creed and Shinedown, and Hinder is coming to town actually soon. I may not be able to see them, but okay, maybe that's only a loss in my opinion. But essentially, I like happened upon this interesting article in
I have
My
no
San
comment,
Antonio.
by the way.
It's called "Mysterious Dude in Iowa is Following Ted Cruz Around and Accusing Him of Liking Nickelback," and this has already garnered 30 likes since I like posted it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Your vibe attracts your tribe because all 30 of those people hated Nickelback.
yeah.
But wait, do you like Nickelback?
No comment.
Wait, no, but you must tell us.
Well, okay. I like Nickelback, but the vibe I was putting out with, haha, this is funny because so much of society likes
the only
Nickelback.
song you like is "Look at This Graph" or whatever. Is it the one?
Actually, I like Far Away, Saving Me, If Everyone Cared,
Oh.
and Someday, which, you know, I like all these songs because they just convey the pure
Remember when I said that you shouldn't try and make friends based on their music taste?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a prime example because if Meghan had only been my friend because of music taste, our friendship would not have lasted.
Yeah, if I would have only had friends based on music taste, then that would have meant
Crystal
that
would've-
my enemies would have been the ones with bad music taste.
So
Crystal would have been my
there.
enemy.
Can you imagine that world? No.
Okay, so basically, what's the interesting thing about this?
Why does
Article.
everyone hate Nickelback? All he does is try to sing sincerely. He has the same motivation as all of these other like artists who objectively are better, like Tame Impala, for example.
He's a person too, or they're a person too.
Yeah,
For Nickelback.
yeah. Okay, but like it's interesting because the whole point of this article is this protester was trying to associate that Ted Cruz should not maybe run for president because technically
likes
his
Nickelback.
birthplace is in Canada and Nickelback is Canadian. So I'm like, oh shoot, if you like look at this article, it's actually deeper than just making fun of Ted Cruz's perceived music taste. Like it's actually kind of more about like associating two like bad things that disqualify him. But then at the end of the article, it's like when asked about his favorite Nickelback song, the protester told the Post, "I don't like Nickelback," which broke my heart a little bit. I will say, I mean, this can like maybe wait for future podcasts. That sometimes I feel like I like being ironic and weird about what I actually like, because on a core level, it's not like, oh man, like when my soul needs to express itself, I'm gonna listen to like Creed or something.
No, but you listen to "Lips of an Angel" by Hinder whenever you're sad.
Yeah.
And you okay, yeah. I think this is an important topic because you make a joke out of what you really like,
Yeah.
as opposed to shining your light.
Shine down my light.
No.
I mean, I think there's something to be analyzed about my objectively shitty music taste aspects. Because I do like other music now, thanks to Meghan.
Well, see, I have the opposite problem where I feel like such a douche if I'm like, oh, I read Pitchfork. I like everything
Beach
but
House.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like a douche if I like actually talk about how much I like music, because like if I actually go all out, like I think that I almost like hide the things I like.
Oh, one thing we could talk about is how different kinds of music taste attracts different kinds of people, and like the
Do you
kinds
think it
of
does?
I do, because
Why?
like, I guess like I just think that ever since my music taste got objectively better, as in like I can actually name more bands that I listen to and their songs that like are of good quality. Like they would be like bands that would be featured in Pitchfork. I feel like the kinds of conversations I've had has also shifted, and the kinds of ways I can connect to people has. But
'Cause-
before, when my repertoire was mostly Nickelback, I was a different person almost.
Because I've always said it's like, okay, songs like that are on the radio are like lower vibrational songs. Like people,
pop.
it's just not complex. Like you'd think, oh, that's like a happy song, that's a sad song, that's like a heartbreak song, that's a pining song. Like very simple emotions. And like when you listen to more like I guess artists, not just
I
when
like
you
that
listen to
distinction.
artists,
Yeah.
not just like a pop band, they're gonna have more complex emotions, and so they're gonna be more detailed. So whenever you're listening, I think that when people listen to music, whether they think they are or not, they're like relating to the song. And so if you're relating, you have to relate to a more complex emotion. And
Yes, this is so true.
and so maybe this is why I judge people on their music taste. But see, this isn't about like how complex a person you are. This is about how much you like music and how much you care about finding songs that fit with you. Because everyone has a complex song that could fit
yeah,
with them or speak with
they
them.
just maybe haven't found it yet, but maybe they haven't been actively looking for it. Because I will say that Megan like gave me the tools to find better music with like examples of songs she
If
likes.
anyone else wants these tools, the answer is Spotify. That's
Yes,
it.
Spotify. And then from there, I actually started adding music to our collaborative playlist that she hadn't found herself but liked. And I felt so validated. I was like, I've completed maybe my transformation into good music taste person. So yeah.
Well, yeah. What did you think of the news week in general
Well,
as a journalist?
I guess I'm still reeling from the fact that yesterday the Tim Wolf letter came out, but at the same time, we also had some tumultuous events in our student government.
I think
also
that this
occurring.
really just explains that there is like a rhyme and a rhythm to
Yeah.
life, and I don't know how to explain it, but talking about it is fun.
Yes, I think that a lot of stuff happening in November of 2015 is now being mirrored in January of 2016, because I just feel like when Concerns in 1950 was on campus, like a lot of just stuff kept building on each other. Like Tim Wolf resigns, and Lofton resigns, then Gary Pinkel resigns, and then oh my God, Melissa Click. And now like Melissa Click's charge and kind of that case is also happening right now.
Yeah, it's
And
just
Wolf-
easier for everyone if they're authentic, because the things you like will come to you, and you just can't hide. You can't hide. Tim Wolf tried to hide his negligence about racial issues, and it came back to bite him, and now everything is coming back to bite everyone. Like with Hayden Gomez, we could talk about that. Everyone else is already talking about that. I'm sure all you have to do is go to your news feed and you'll see.
Or go to your nose.
Or go to your nose.
Just sniff it out. Sniff
But
out the news.
yeah, it's like you can't hide anymore. You can't get away with
This
it.
is
You just
why-
have to be honest.
This is why I personally believe in karma. I just feel like it's because in circles, things come full circle. Ways that you've neglected growth are always going to come back to haunt you, and it's almost like it's suspension of haunting you. It's like before it happens, you can't say it's not going to happen. You can't be like, I got away with that. Well, no, maybe a
Nope.
few years down the road, a few
No,
months,
no.
days. You can't hide for long. Karma / the universe will come back and find you. Maybe
There's
I'm using-
still hope for you, Stephen Avery. Maybe in 18 years.
I thought there was going to be some kind of 18-year-old joke there. But, maybe
All
not.
right. Well, that's all the time we have. But thank you guys for listening.
We're going to probably keep having a conversation after this stops recording, but you'll get to hear more of it next week.
Yeah, we probably are going to talk some other time
Yeah.
within
Oh,
the
well.
next week.
Okay, well, yeah.
But all right, thank you. Bye.